I don't see anyone in the waiting room, Patrick.
All right. Oh, they're in. I'm getting some messages. Everybody appears to be in, so we're in good shape. Nick, we are go to launch. Before we go to the specific translation needs, there's some procedural stuff that we need to do to make sure that we are good to go. So, Nick, I would invite you to go into the chair script.
Yeah, thank you, everybody, and good morning. I apologize I can't join you in person in Fresno today, but here we are virtually, thanks to the marvels of modern technology. So welcome to the 598th board meeting of the California Regional Water Quality Control Board, Central Valley Region in Fresno. I am Nick Abdus. I'm the chair of the water board. And as you can see, both the board vice chair and myself will be participating remotely. As such, I need to make a few legal disclosures required when board members participate remotely before I introduce the other board members. So board members may participate remotely in this meeting in accordance with the provisions of the Bagley-Keene Open Meetings Act, specifically Government Code Section 11123.2. Remote participation that requires a quorum of the board members must be physically present at a single teleconference location that is open, visible, and audible to the public. Board members participating remotely must disclose whether there are any individuals 18 years or older present in the same room as them, as well as the general nature of their relationship with these individuals. The vice chair and I will also remain on camera for the entire open portion of the public meeting unless it's technologically practicable to do so, consistent with Government Code Section 11123.2. If either of us needs to turn off our cameras during the open portion of the meeting, we will announce our reason for doing so. So in order to satisfy these legal requirements, I note for the record that a quorum of the board is present at the physical location where the board meeting is taking place, and that both the vice chair and I are participating remotely. I sadly am alone where I'm at, and I would ask that Elena disclose.
I am also alone, thank you.
Okay, so I will now ask the board to ratify our remote participation in the meeting. So I will entertain a motion for that, and then we'll have a roll call.
So moved.
So, I would suggest that it would be somebody physically present in the room that would make that motion.
So move. I'll second.
Board Member Kadara,
Yes.
Board Member Bradford,
Yes.
Board Member Yang,
Yes.
Vice Chair Lee Reeder.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I missed Board Member Baggett.
Yes.
Vice Chair Lee Reeder
Aye.
and Chair Aptis.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, so before I move on, Patrick, do we have some language access disclosures or procedures that we need to announce?
Absolutely. I'll turn it over to our very capable translator, interpreter, Jasmine, who will give the requirements for participating remotely in the Zoom Spanish translation portion of the meeting.
Good morning. My name is Jasmine Carrasco. My colleague and I Mark Gutierrez, will be providing interpretation services. They are available for today's meeting. To listen to comments made in Spanish, please select the globe icon at the bottom of your screen that says Interpretation. You can then select English to listen to a live rendering of the comment or question. Por favor, noten que hay servicios de interpretación disponibles para la reunión de hoy. Para escuchar los comentarios realizados en inglés, seleccione el icono del globo terráqueo en la parte inferior de la pantalla que dice Interpretación. Luego, puede seleccionar español para escuchar una interpretación en vivo del comentario o la pregunta. We also wanted to announce that we have on-site interpretation. Anybody who needs interpretation services in Spanish can acquire headsets in the lobby. También queremos notar de que hay servicios de interpretación disponible para el día de hoy aquí mismo en la reunión. Si necesita audífonos, puede conseguirlos en la oficina enfrente. Muchísimas gracias.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for bearing through those disclosure and process points. If you develop a rash at any time during this meeting or otherwise, I would recommend immediate medical attention. But moving on with that, this meeting is now called to order at, I guess, 9:13 a.m. on Friday, April 25th, 2024. I will go through our emergency evacuation procedures. In the event of a fire alarm, please note the emergency exit back door of the conference room you are now currently present in. Evacuate the building immediately and exit through the door and proceed to the designated assembly area in the parking lot at Cali King's Distributors to the south of the building there, and await further instructions from emergency stewards. Please do not cross E Street. So Mindy, can you please begin by providing instructions for members of the public that plan to participate in today's meeting?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mindy Bunn, and I am the clerk to the board. I'll begin by sharing some information about how public participation will be organized for today's meeting. If you wish to make a verbal comment on one of the board items or during the public forum, you must be attending either in person, through the Zoom platform, or by calling in via phone. If you are currently watching the webcast on CalSpan but would like to make a comment, please email me now at agenda5@waterboards.ca.gov to request the Zoom link. If you're already on the Zoom webinar and wish to speak but have not pre-registered, please raise your hand and you will be called upon. If you are using a computer or a tablet, click the raised hand button. If you're calling in by phone, press *9 to raise your hand. Generally, in-person commenters will be called upon first, followed by Zoom and phone participants. If you're here in person and wish to speak, but you haven't completed a blue comment card and given it to a staff member, or if you're on Zoom and haven't raised your hand, you may miss your opportunity to speak. Staff will call each commenter by name, and your microphone will be unmuted. If you're calling in by phone, staff will identify you by the last 3 digits of your phone number. For the record, please state your name and who you are representing before speaking. This is especially important for those testifying on an item. Unless you've been granted additional time, each speaker will have 3 minutes. A bell will sound when your time is up. Please speak from a quiet location to minimize background noise. As noted, Spanish interpretation will be available during this meeting. And finally, a friendly reminder to our board members, presenters, and staff, please mute yourself when not speaking to reduce background noise, and if possible, keep your camera on when speaking. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that, Mindy. I will now introduce the other board members as follows. Elena Lee Reeder of Sacramento on the Zoom, obviously. Mark Bradford of Sacramento. Denise Gadara of Allensworth. Art Baggett of El Portal. Sean Yang of Sacramento. And of course, I'm Nick Abdis, also of Sacramento. Nicole Morgan, our State Water Board member, is participating in this meeting, and we'll provide an update a little bit later. At this point, I will introduce our executive officer, Patrick Plupa, who will introduce himself and his staff. But before that, I would ask that we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. And I would ask Mark Bradford to lead us in the pledge, please.
Welcome to Fresno, everybody. Thank you so much to the team down here for hosting us and for AGP to put together all this technological wizardry that, frankly, we did not think was possible a few years ago, and is now working pretty seamlessly thanks to their diligence at making sure that all the microphones and monitors are connected, and all the ones and zeros are flying around where they're supposed to go. So to introduce my staff, I will start at the far end of the table with Chris Moskal, who's an attorney with the Central Valley Water Board. To his left is Jessica Yar, senior attorney with the Water Board, and to her left is Kennedy Knight, one more attorney for the Water Board. To Kennedy's left is, who's this guy again? Adam Lapitz, who's the Assistant Executive Officer in the Rancho Cordova office, and by my side quite a bit, so I'm just joshing him just a little bit. And to his left, Mindy Bunn, our very, very capable executive assistant and clerk to the board. Behind them is Christina Shoup, who runs this office as an assistant executive officer, and JJ Baum is to her left, who's an assistant executive officer in the Rancho Cordova office. Last but not least, we have Clint Snyder, somewhere in the audience as well. There we go, who runs our Reading office. There are a number of staff and supervisors throughout the audience as well, all working hard to protect water quality in this region. And with that, I'll hand it back to you, Nick.
All right, sorry about that. It was muted. Thank you, Patrick, for that, and thank you again, everybody. On to board member communications. Are there any individuals physically present at the meeting? Any board members that would like to disclose any board member communications?
Yeah, good morning. It's good to be in Fresno. I lived most of my life in Fresno, so I still call this home. As a matter of fact, I still have a house there. So good to be here. Yeah, I just want to share that yesterday, myself and our staff with some community members visited Tulare Lake Compose, and that tour, it was really good. It gave us a insight of the 175-acre uncomposing facility near Kettleman City. It's a eco-friendly process is used to combine agriculture and green waste from the Central Valley, solid from Los Angeles County. So I enjoyed thoroughly. So thank you for that tour for the organizer. Appreciate that.
Good morning, everyone. It's good to be in the Fresno office. My update is on the 27th and 28th of February, I participated in the California Climate Resiliency Summit. March 7th, I attended the Integrated Climate Adaptation and Resiliency Program Technical Advisory Council, where I serve as a member. On 14th of March, I participated in, well, I'll X that one. On 15th of March, I attended the celebration for the Community Water Leaders Network event hosted by the Community Water Center that was celebrating the 9th or 10th year of that Community Water Leaders Network. And then on the 3rd of April, Allensworth Progressive Association attended the American Red Cross Awards dinner in Fresno, the ceremony in Fresno, where we received the Good Neighbors Award for our work during the March 2023 flood, where we organized and created a command post and fought to protect Allensworth from the flooding. On the 24th, which was yesterday, Allensworth hosted the Water Education Foundation tour. And then a more recent update on the arsenic remediation efforts that we have underway in Allensworth. We are on the rights to the technology and the intellectual properties at this time while we're continuing our third trial. The first two trials were for the reducing arsenic in the groundwater from 300 parts per billion to less than 2 Parts Pavilion, and now Dr. Gaggill and his lab is working on the third phase of that, dealing with the domestic water. In 1 year, we will be able to take the IP and build water kiosks and scale up the business. So those are all things that we have happening in Allensworth. And then along with Sean, I also thank the staff and all those that put together the tour that we went to yesterday. Was an excellent opportunity to see commercial industry actually be eco-friendly, as you said. Thank you very much this morning.
All right, anyone else? No? All right. Elena, do you have any?
I have none to report, thanks.
All right. I have two to report. On March 4th, I attended the NACWA annual board meeting, annual meeting. And on April 10th, I attended the CB Salts executive committee meeting. Okay, moving on, the State Water Board liaison update. I hand the mic over to Nicole Morgan. Good morning, Nicole.
Good morning. It is a pleasure to be able to join you this morning. So just a couple updates. And I apologize, I missed all of yours, and so I'm not sure if you talked about the Water Quality Coordinating Committee, but I do hope that we are able to see you all. The Water Board's annual Water Quality Coordinating Committee meeting, it's also called WQCC, will be held on Thursday, May 1st and Friday, May 2nd. Attendees can participate either virtually or in person. So it has been conducted almost every year since January 1970. These meetings are now an opportunity for all water board members and the state and regional water board to gather. Details are available on our webpage, and I also believe that the public announcement also went out. So the 2026 integrated report, on March 18th, State Board staff held a public hearing to receive oral comments on the draft 303D list for the 2026 integrated report and draft staff report during the regularly scheduled State Board meeting. On January 30th, the State Water Board released the draft list and draft staff report for public review. The public comment period closed earlier this month on April 2nd. So the State Board will consider adopting the proposed list at a board meeting early next year. The utility wildfire general order, which is something I'm sure you all have been following. The State Board staff has proposed revisions to the draft general order in a response to public comments and intends to release the draft and has released the draft, apologize. We have released that draft for a 30-day review period ending on April 29th. A workshop was held either yesterday or the day before for the public to ask questions and to get additional information. And so there's a few more days to go ahead and submit comments on the additional revisions. And so Issa Rossi, Public Administrator, on April 17th, the State Board held a public meeting to discuss the proposed identification of the Issa Rossi Community Service District as a designated sewer system and identification of Tulare County Resource Management Agency as the proposed sewer system administrator to the Issa Rossi CSD. The meeting included a presentation by the State Water Board and an opportunity for the public to provide comments and ask questions. Members of the public, including representatives of Issa Rossi, CSD, effective rate payers, renters, and property owners, can submit written comments through May 7th, 2025. So that concludes my report for this month. Also occurring here in 5 minutes will be the wastewater needs assessment advisory committee meeting. And so those are all done via virtual Zoom, and those are all held virtually. That is also, it is something that is similar to what was done on the drinking water side to really understand what are the needs within the state. And so we're looking at the needs for wastewater throughout the state. As you mentioned, there are a lot of needs here within the Central Valley. And so really digging in to see what data do we have, what are those data gaps, what are the needs, and coming up with a methodology to analyze I don't want to say prioritize because everything is a priority, but as you know, can't tackle everything all at once, but really want to make sure that we have a system to where we really understand and we're able to move through those needs and have those identified, and everyone can understand where the needs are throughout the state. And so that committee has started meeting last year and are continued to meet throughout this year to come together. The first reports are going to come out here soon. So just with that initial work that has been done, and we'll continue through. So hope to be able to continue to also give you updates on that effort. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Nicole. Any questions from folks there in person? I will need verbal cues, so. Okay.
No, I'm good. Thank you, Nicole.
I'm seeing a lot of shaking heads, and so
We're looking forward to the information, the results of the report.
all right, thank you all.
Thank you, Nicole. Always appreciated.
Thanks for joining us on the tour yesterday as well.
Thank you for the invitation. It was a great opportunity, and I really think that's the first time I've been to a compost facility. You know, seeing biosolids and, obviously, wastewater facilities and what happens in biosolids there. It was great to see a compost facility and just I want to say, somewhat innovative way that that LA is handling their biosolids and really, taking that next step. And so thank you for the invitation to join you. It really was a good tour.
Thank you, Nicole. I'm sorry I missed that. Sounds like I missed a fun one. All right, moving on. If you are in person at the meeting and wish to speak, but have not yet submitted a speaker card, please fill out a blue card at the reception table and give it to the staff member there. If you are on the Zoom platform and wish to speak, but have not yet registered, please raise your hand now. So Mindy, has anyone submitted a request to speak on any topic which is not on the agenda today?
Yes, we have a number of people. I will call on the in-person attendees first. The first person we have is Perry Klassen, representing Valley Water Collaborative.
Barry?
Push the button. Good morning, Chair Abdus and Co-Chair. Good to see you on Zoom anyway. Perry Clausen, Executive Director of Valley Water Collaborative. I live 20 minutes from here, so I figured I would come and give you an update. It's a long ways to Rancho Cordova, so I wanted to give you just a brief update on what's going on with the Priority 2 basins with the nitrate control program. We've all had a great launch in February of our programs. We met the early action plan start date, and all of the 8 basins are now promoting the free well testing in their groundwater basins. They're the Priority 2 basins that are on the same requirement as a Priority 1 basins. So I just want to give you a few of the stats. There's, as I mentioned, 8 basins. Valley Water has 5 of those basins, and from the start of the program, the stats that we have for both Priority 1 and Priority 2 is we've had 1,783 applications to the program. Out of those, 1,041 of the wells of those applications have gone to the lab for analysis, both of nitrate and for contaminants that are being supported by a SAFER grant, which include 123 TCP, uranium, and arsenic. And of the total samples that we've performed already in both P1 and P2, 68% of those have exceeded the nitrate drinking water standard. and 41% exceeded the uranium standard. 123 TCP is at 17%, and arsenic 5%. So we're getting an idea regionally where these other contaminants are an issue, and the SAFER program, state water boards are aware of that. And so in our Priority 2 launch, we've received 270 applications. Most of those have gone to the lab. There's still some of them being processed. Majority have. Some are out of the area, some in public water systems. And those wells that have been sampled, we're at 64% have been above the nitrate drinking water standard, and the same with the limited results we've gotten back from the labs on the other contaminants. Very similar to what we are having with uranium and 123 TCP. So that is all I wanted to give you an update on. I think there's a lot of interest out there. We're using some of the lessons learned from our outreach activities that we performed in the Priority 1 basin, in particular going straight to the active organizations in each of these basins and having them assist us in distributing information. So that's versus we're going to be holding some public meetings or applicants meetings, and some of those in the previous time weren't getting that many responses. So we're going straight to the organizations that exist. And so far I've gotten good reception. So that's my update. Thank you.
Thank you, Perry.
Next,
Appreciate that update. Yeah, go ahead, Mindy.
apologies. Next, we have Deborah Dunn with Kings Water Alliance.
Good morning, members of the board, regional board staff, and members of the public. My name is Deborah Dunn, Executive Officer with the Kings Water Alliance, the management zone for the nitrate control program for portions of Fresno, Tulare, and Kings County, including the Cutler area. It's my understanding that there will be a briefing later from members of the public on the Cutler area. To date, currently the Kings Water Alliance has sampled over 1,200 rural residential drinking water wells, is delivering bottled water to 750 households, and operates 3 fill stations in Kerman, Hanford, and Dinuba. The Kings Water Alliance has worked with Cutler Public Utility District to get information about the nearby Dinuba fill station distributed to residents in their monthly nitrate drinking water notification mailer provided to the residents in Cutler. The Kings Water Alliance has met with regional board staff, the Cutler Public Utility District Engineer, Division of Drinking Water, and Community Water Center, and will continue to do so as we work to determine a feasible solution for Cutler residents for their nitrate issues. The representative from Cutler PUD has indicated that they are actively working on a long-term drinking water solution to deal with their 123 TCP and nitrate issues, which will ultimately provide the Cutler community with clean drinking water. Thank you for your time today. I appreciate it.
Next, we have Chris DeLeon representing the Community Water Center.
Hello, everyone. My name is Chris DeLeon. I'm with Community Water Center. I'm here reading a comment from Cari Quintana, who's a community member that we're working with. We're working with a lot of community members in Orosi, Cutler, and East Orosi to address nitrate issues and dry well issues, and also advocating for Cutler residents that currently have nitrate filled water, and their current only access point to water is to travel to either get to fill stations or have to purchase water for their homes. So the comment says, "Hi, my name is Cari Quintana. I'm a third-generation community member of Sultana, California. I currently serve on the Sultana CSD and have for almost 9 years. I've attended many meetings through several different water organizations over the years, and it seems like we are always talking, planning, and performing costly studies for long-term projects. Although looking for the future is very important for the longevity of the rural communities, it is very important that we begin discussing interim solutions for the families who are currently struggling with lack of safe and affordable drinking water in Tulare County. When you have community members in various stages of illnesses or disabilities, struggling emotionally, financially, and physically to take care of their families, the last thing that they should have to worry about is the lack of basic services required for survival. Though many in our small rural communities have been supplied with water tanks over these last 5 years, The distress of driving into town to purchase filtered bottled water for drinking is very costly, especially if you are responsible for your community water bill, even though it is not usable. At a physical disability or even elderly, no longer driving, having to rely on others for help to access safe drinking water is almost impossible. Similar to other communities like East Rossi, Cutler has found themselves having to get through a lot of red tape to arrive at a long-term solution. Their neighboring community, which with access to perfectly safe drinking water, has made it difficult. Why would anyone deny their neighbor access to very important services? We are not in a third world country. Why are these communities still struggling? Getting them connected should be an emergency, a priority. The effects of contaminated water on children and people in general is lifelong. Let's put some plans in motion and prevent future illnesses and disease in children and families by getting them connected to safe water that is mere miles away from them. We ask the regional board to ensure that Cutler residents have access to an affordable and sustainable interim drinking water solution. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Kaya Rivers from Community Water Center, who is on Zoom.
Kaya, are you there?
Hi, Kaya. You're being promoted. You can share your mic.
Hi, good morning. Sorry for the delay. Good morning, Chair Avdis and board members. My name is Kaya Rivers. I'm a senior policy advocate at Community Water Center. And Cutler is a disadvantaged community and a community which is a part of the Agua Coalition, a coalition which consists of 53 members from 34 directly impacted communities and organizations, all dedicated to securing safe, clean, and affordable drinking water for communities across the state. Cutler has been enduring nitrate contamination, and the PUD is working towards a long-term solution to mitigate that contamination. However, until then, residents don't have safe drinking water until that solution is complete. Because of the nitrate contamination, Cutler PUD customers do not have access to affordable drinking water. Cutler residents are paying twice the rate for water by both paying their water bill for water they cannot safely drink and also buying bottled water for basic use. As shared before, Cutler is a disadvantaged community and cannot afford to pay for water twice. Furthermore, the nearest water kiosk Cutler residents can visit is at least 7 miles away from the community, making affordable and safe drinking water difficult and inaccessible for residents who are disabled, elderly, or without transportation. Despite coordination with responsible parties, Cutler residents are still without safe drinking water and cannot wait any longer for an interim drinking water solution. Under Porter Cologne and the Basin Plan Amendment, the regional board has the responsibility to both protect water quality and ensure safe drinking water to nitrate impacted residents and communities. So we urge the regional board to coordinate with the state water board, local agencies, and stakeholders to leverage resources and provide Cutler PUD residents safe drinking water, either through the provision of bottled water or an expedited long-term solution. Thank you so much for your time and the opportunity to comment today.
Thank you, Kaya.
Next, we have Raquel Sanchez. I understand she needs Spanish interpretation, and she's representing the Agua Coalition.
I will promote you to a panelist.
Okay, we'll just provide some brief instructions for her to do short phrases and pauses so we can do a consecutive interpretation. Señora Sánchez, ¿nos escucha?
Raquel, you've been promoted to a panelist, and you may share your mic.
Señora Sánchez, ¿puede prender su micrófono? ¿Nos escucha?
Mark, she'll have to select. There she is.
Bueno,
Ahí está, muy bien. Le pido por favor que hable frases cortas y que pause para yo repetir todo lo que usted diga en inglés. ¿Está bien?
gracias.
A usted. Y hable por favor en voz alta para yo escucharla.
Sí. Buenos días, señores de la mesa.
Good morning, board members.
Es un honor para mí
It's an honor for me.
abogar
It's an honor for me to be able to advocate for,
por Cutler Orosi
Cutler Orosi
como trabajadora del campo,
doing so as a person who works in the fields,
igual que mucha gente que reside en Cutler Orosi,
same as many other people who reside and work in Cutler Orosi,
y que tienen agua contaminada,
and who are dealing with contaminated water.
ellos tienen que pagar 3 veces más por agua.
They have to pay 3 times more for water.
Agua embotellada,
They pay for bottled water,
y agua para el uso diario.
as well as water for their daily use.
Por favor, queremos una solución rápida, que haya fondo para que ellos no gasten.
Please, we want a fast solution, a quick solution so that they don't have to spend their funds, their money,
Su ingreso que ganan
their hard-earned money,
de su trabajo
which they earn from their jobs,
para poder ellos consumir agua limpia.
and they do this, of course, so they can have clean water for their consumption.
Gracias. Espero una pronta respuesta.
Thank you so much. I eagerly await a prompt response
Para todas esas personas,
especially for all of those people,
porque el derecho humano es agua limpia.
because clean water is a human right.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next, we have Michael Prado Sr. representing Agua Coalition.
Sir, you may share your mic. You are being promoted to a panelist.
Am I on now?
You are.
All right. My name is Michael Prado Sr. I live in Sultana, California, which is on the north end of Tulare County. And I am here today to speak to you on several communities that are suffering. Like Cutler, many communities such as Munson, Sultana, Seville, and East Orosi still need to be connected to a long-term, sustainable solution. Right now, they are working on a regional project. However, it's pricey to be connected. Many communities that are waiting to be connected are using hauled water and bottled water. Cutler needs help now. The law is to provide safe and affordable drinking water, and we're leaving Cutler behind, as well as several other communities, Munson as well, East Orosi. Cutler can't wait any longer, and residents need an interim drinking solution as soon as possible. Thank you for your time and allowing me to speak.
Thank you.
The last speaker we have on Zoom is Erica Diaz Rodriguez, representing Community Water Center.
Erica, you can share your microphone.
Hi, good morning, folks. My name is Erica Diaz from Community Water Center. I'll be speaking on behalf of one of our community members, Rosa Orozco Carrillo. She left a comment for us. So it says, "Hi, my name is Rosa Orozco Carrillo. I've been living in San Gerardo Cooperative for the last 12 years. Even though I haven't been affected directly by nitrates, San Gerardo Cooperative has been affected by nitrates in the past. We have a new well and the safe drinking water. However, San Gerardo Cooperative members have been directly affected by nitrate. Many community members have cancer. When the nitrates were high in the past, families developed rashes and lost their hair. Because of that, families are afraid to drink the water. I think it's important that the Regional Water Board puts a stop to the over-application of the nitrates because that nitrate will go into our drinking water. It's important for us to speak up, especially for people that can't speak. Even though I live in Salinas, we have the responsibility to be in this fight alongside Cutler for safe drinking water. Our communities are being affected not just by nitrate, but also by water affordability. The Regional Water Board needs to listen and work with our community to understand how nitrate impacts our everyday lives. Cutler needs a safe interim drinking water now. Thank you.
Thank you. Mindy, do we have any other speakers?
No other speakers for public forum.
Thank you. Patrick, would you care to respond to any other comments that were raised?
No, absolutely. First, I do want to express my gratitude to everybody who came forward to talk today about these issues. Cutler is in the priority 2 area for the nitrate control program, and I do think that this is the type of problem that the nitrate control program was set up to solve. Before CV salts, before the nitrate control program, I think our response would have been that this is DDW's issue, that we are focusing more on the dischargers and less on the drinking water systems. But the nitrate control program has expanded our authority in this area and expanded the leverage that we can apply to try and help these communities work towards both long-term and interim solutions. So we have absolutely been in contact with DDW, the PUD, the management zone, and SAFER to try and come up with both a short-term and a long-term solution for Cutler. Certainly, I very much appreciate the last commenter saying that, at the end of the day, what we really need to do is limit the nitrogen loading into the groundwater so that that is absolutely part of the long-term solution. But there are also utility concerns that we're trying to address here as well. It's troubling to me whenever there is a utility collecting fees from ratepayers and then not delivering what they are supposed to deliver, in this case, clean water. The state has provided money to drill a new well and to get some new infrastructure in place. We are pushing as hard as we can to try and make sure that that comes online sooner rather than later. And we're also working with the management zone to see if we can have interim solutions, including bottled water delivery and potentially getting a fill station up sooner rather than later. If you know the area, Cutler is immediately south of Orosi. They often refer to themselves as Cutler Orosi, so there should be a solution there. Orosi itself has compliant water. There's issues in East Orosi that we're also working on very diligently, but there should be some way that we can tie those communities together so that nobody has to travel 7 miles to get clean water, and that there's more local solutions, including bottled water delivery. I can turn it over to Adam as well if he had anything else to add. I'll also add that DDW is looking at this matter quite closely. Cutler is under an enforcement order from DDW simply because they are not fulfilling their obligations as a utility to provide safe drinking water despite collecting fees. So I think we're on a good track, but I think the comments that we've heard really are helping us accelerate short-term and long-term solutions at Cutler. I don't know if I missed anything, Adam, but nothing to add. All right. Certainly any questions from the board, we can try and answer both here and later. We are also going to be issuing a letter prompting the management zone to continue to look towards solutions. We do have a good partner. I will say the management zone has done a number of actions before they were even required to do them under the nitrate control program. So we're very appreciative of that, but we're hearing from the community. Let's do this faster.
Thank you, Patrick. Do we have any questions or comments from folks on the board?
Yes, I just simply comment, I forgot to mention it under board communication, but Kaya Rivers had contacted me regarding this matter. So as I'm hearing it today from the public, and as Patrick has said, it's definitely an issue we want to see resolved, and we want some interim, solutions to address the people not having safe drinking water.
And I should also add that I will provide updates to the board in my executive officer reports to the regular board meetings so that you can know how this is going and the public can know how this is going as we move ahead with these projects.
Yeah, I'd like to thank everybody for coming. It always highlights the reality of being without water at your house. And, Patrick, I guess I'm curious, what is the holdup in getting bottled water delivered to Cutler? I mean, that seems like a simple, quick fix, and it's obviously not a solution, but it's a quick fix, it seems like.
Cutler's not a tiny community, and so mobilizing a bottled water source, I think for 1,800 folks is a big task, especially when on deck there should be some solutions to bring the entire system back online. So our conversations are at this stage largely about providing bottled water to sensitive populations via deliveries, and then getting a filling station, if we can, up and running. Filling stations are no small task either. They have to be DDW compliant because you certainly don't want a situation where you have a filling station and it introduces new chemicals, new constituents. In past filling stations have had problems with bacteria, have had problems with compliance themselves. So we really want to make sure that if we work with the management zone to bring a filling station online, it itself will be compliant as well. And that usually, I think you heard that earlier, that usually involves some negotiation with the neighbor. And sometimes the neighbor doesn't see the light as early as we would want it to. And so those conversations also have to be delicately handled. At the end of the day, we do have some leverage, and we won't hesitate to use it to make sure that solutions will move ahead.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, sure. I could add on to that. I too want to say thank you to the constituents who came forward today, whether it's in person or virtually, to voice your concern and your issues at hand. And water, clean water, is human rights for sure, because that's daily consumptions that we need as a human being. And I would definitely urge our team, Patrick, to look for alternative solutions from the community, rather is profit or nonprofit organization that could help us out. And as you alluded to, the amount of people in that area, it's not an easy task to fulfill clean water, rather it's through the wheel or bottled water. But I think this is a serious issue, and it's an issue that people deal with on a daily basis because it's water. And as I said, we consume that every day. So I definitely think that we have to seek for help anyway from any one. Again, whether it's profit or nonprofit organization, I think there's people out there that if they know about this issue, they would chime in and help out. So that's my comment, and I just want to say I'm sorry to hear that issue, and we'll do our best to bring an interim solution along with the long-term solution. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Anyone else? Okay. Well, thank you. I also want to extend my gratitude to the folks who made public comments. I mean, there should be no question, certainly, that safe, affordable, and accessible drinking water is available to folks that need it, obviously. So we'll continue to hold our own feet to the fire on this issue. Moving on our agenda to item 6, the executive officer's report. This is an informational item. As we know, prior to each meeting, the executive officer works with the board clerk and the board's program managers to compile a report on the status of the board's programs, its staffing, and many different initiatives the board is working on. Again, if you're a person at the meeting and wish to speak, have not submitted a speaker card, please fill out one. And if you're on the Zoom, please raise your hand. I think at this time, the executive officer is available to take questions on the executive officer's report. So, Patrick, any comments? And then, of course, any questions from folks? Okay.
No comments, Nick.
Okay. Thank you, Denise. So, Patrick, at this time, on our agenda, we have, what do we have? Employee recognition, staff recognitions, and then achievements.
Yeah, no, one of my favorite parts of the board meeting. For starters, I want to recognize a team that received the Sustained Superior Accomplishment Award. It's the highest award that the board can give out. And this year, the Sustained Superior Accomplishment Award was given to the board's entire administrative team in recognition of their dedication, adaptability, and exceptional efforts in responding to the COVID-19 pandemic, ensuring return to the office protocols, and managing numerous challenges over the past 2 years. They have repeatedly gone above and beyond their regular duties to support the regional board staff, the executive team, the board itself, and demonstrated outstanding initiative and commitment. Their dedication and adaptability in meeting unprecedented challenges made a significant impact and was key to preserving the board's mission in each of the board's water quality programs. This award does come with a small bonus, which I wish could be much, much larger to reflect their contribution to this organization's success. And last but not least, I'll also note that Ashlyn and Michelle have also made amazing contributions, but were hired too recently to qualify for this award. The team that received this award, Mindy Maxwell of Rancho Cordova, Kelly Garver of Rancho Cordova, Christine Croyle of Rancho Cordova, Denise Hill of Rancho Cordova, Brittany Elliott of Rancho Cordova, Margie Saldana of Rancho Cordova, Nicholas Hancock of Fresno, Courtney Kasich of Redding, Sierra Collins of Redding, Debbie Benke of Redding, and Connie Floyd of Redding. The duties that they conduct on a day-to-day basis range from ensuring that we have the appropriate training, everything from HAZWOPER to respond to incidents to the professional education of our leadership team. They help us arrange our travel. They make sure that the laboratories are up and running so that we can process samples. Make sure that the boats and all the contracts that we have are up and running, and that all the safety protocols are followed for our teams, in addition to processing all the paperwork that comes in and out of our office. Truly an exceptional team. They project a lot of work that's beyond their size, and I really, really want to appreciate them, frankly, each and every day. They are the reason that we are able to do so much with very limited resources here in the region. So I do want to take a moment to appreciate their efforts.
Yes, thank you.
And now we have 3 of our Superior Accomplishment Awards given out to folks in the Fresno office. I believe they're all here today. And then one, Jack Rail, in the Reading office, who did not make the journey all the way down to Fresno, which is entirely appropriate given the distance. First, I do want to make sure that Jack Rail is here and listening. He's with the Reading Groundwater Unit. I get a thumbs up in some way. Is Jack on there? He might just be watching. All right, Clint, verify that he's watching. If he's not, we'll make a recording of this and make sure that he gets it. Jack Rail has been working with the Reading Groundwater Unit since 2022. His expertise in environmental fieldwork, which he has honed during his 8 years in consulting, is an asset to the groundwater unit. A sample result is only as reliable as its method of collection. Jack prioritized the importance of sampling integrity, raising the standard of practice. In addition to traditional sampling techniques, Jack is well versed in newer technologies and tools such as sonic drilling and X-ray fluorescence. He is also a pro at vapor sampling, specifically sub-slab and indoor air, which have become a larger component of site cleanup work as we focus on how subsurface contamination directly affects our indoor living spaces. Jack has earned this Superior Accomplishment Award for his excellent work on the Reynolds and Equiva PFAS investigation. PFAS is an emerging class of over 14,000 chemicals, many of which are cancer-causing. This year, US EPA released MCL's maximum contaminant levels. Analytical methods are evolving rapidly as our understanding of PFAS fate and transport and human health impacts grows. All this makes PFAS investigations challenging. Laboratory certification for emerging PFAS methods is spotty. Jack had the difficult task of ensuring our analytical lab and their sublab would produce data that meets our needs. He was in constant contact with Region 5 PFAS experts to ensure that we select appropriate analytical methods and the resulting data has sufficiently low reporting levels. Jack's attention to fieldwork details reduced the potential for cross-contamination and increased the integrity of the sample results. He ensured all equipment, including Dacon water, was PFAS-free, even the ice packs. Additionally, there were times Jack needed to educate the consultants regarding cross-contamination risks. Planning fieldwork for such involved cases is complex. Work was conducted over several days and multiple media were sampled: groundwater, surface water, pond water, sludge, soil, industrial effluent. Jack's vast fieldwork experience allowed him to anticipate issues and take action to prevent problems. Consequently, the fieldwork at both sites, while eventful, was conducted flawlessly. Lastly, Jack's enthusiasm for the fieldwork was infectious. 3 coworkers who are novice samplers assisted Jack in the field. It was their fortune to receive on-the-job training in sound, defensible fieldwork procedures. There were some long, hot days you wouldn't have thought so, but we wouldn't have thought so, considering how energetic and happy he was to be in the field. Jack shined. And I'll note for the board, PFAS is one of our toughest emerging contaminants. We're talking about parts per trillion potentially causing cancer. And so when you do an investigation, the stakes are incredibly high. When you take an enforcement action, when you require an industry to provide replacement water, you are on the cutting edge of cleanup techniques that are employed by the board. Jack really, his professionalism in doing this work really enabled us to really help the community in that area get the investigation that they deserved. So much appreciation, Jack. I think we've got your certificate here, and we'll make sure that you get your hands on it in the near future.
Thank you.
Next up is Stephen Klein, who I see here today. Stephen Klein has worked in the Fresno office for 25 years, and 20 of those years he has been a member of the Confined Animal Facilities Unit. Mr. Klein specializes in reviewing time-sensitive, complex technical engineering reports and provides recommendations to management. These technical engineering reports were prepared for the design, construction, and operation of anaerobic digesters, which play a significant role in improving the quality of waste produced at a confined animal facility. Mr. Klein is one of the original staff that drafted the expectations and acceptable standards for these newly designed and constructed anaerobic digesters. These digester design reports are time-sensitive documents that need to be reviewed expeditiously since they are partly funded by federal and state department funds, and Mr. Klein has completed the review of these reports in an efficient manner and developed methods to assist others in completing these reports efficiently. He has trained several other staff on reviewing these complex technical engineering reports. He has also reviewed and provided timely recommendations to management on 112 out of a total of 384 lined pond work plans since 2014. Last year, Mr. Klein worked closely with private engineering firms to ensure the newly introduced biodynamic aeration system, or BIDA design, a new treatment technology for dairy waste, meets and aligns with the water quality objectives of our board. He recently completed the review of the first BIDA project. Mr. Klein represents the Fresno office as a subject matter expert on technical advisory committees for the Dairy Digester Research and Development Program and for the Alternative Manure Management Programs for the review of grant applications from the dairy industry. Even though he has spent 20-plus years in his current role, the quality of his work product has been impeccably maintained. His positive attitude towards accepting greater workload under strict timelines, his proactive nature to mentor new staff on reviewing complex engineering reports, and his collaborative work with internal as well as external professionals is truly appreciated. Stephen, there's not enough I can do to recognize your work. For the folks who are in this room, the dairy staff probably have fewer staff per facility than any other program at the board. We have just a few staff to manage, I guess it's about 1,400 dairy and bovine facilities. So recognizing that Stephen has worked to train and enhance the expertise of the other staff is truly extraordinary. And I know, Stephen, 18, 19 years ago, I know you and Clay and Alan at the time were teaching me about liner design and improvements that the dairy industry needs to make. So congratulations. I'll have you come up here for a picture in just a couple minutes, but really thanks for your dedication here to the board. Next up is Katie Carpenter. I think I saw her earlier. Hey, Katie. Katie Carpenter is being nominated for the Superior Accomplishment Award for her exceptional service to the Central Valley Water Board. Her technical knowledge and experience working for the Central Valley Water Board continues to advance the goals and objectives of the Non-15 program, and she often takes on the most challenging projects. Some of these projects include the renewal of the region-wide low-threat waiver, handling ongoing disposal issues for the Millerton Newtown development, and comprehensive CEQA document reviews for various complex facilities. Most recently, Katie has reviewed and provided comments on environmental documents for large pistachio and almond processing facilities, as well as for a large quarry project adjacent to the San Joaquin River. These comments are critical in fulfilling the Central Valley Water Board's role as a responsible agency for projects requiring compliance with CEQA. Her attention to detail, technical background, and regulatory experience are evident in her work. Her reviews and permits are consistently of excellent quality and require very few, if any, revisions. In addition, Katie has been tasked with preparing a region-wide general order for fruit and vegetable packing facilities in the Central Valley that is tentatively scheduled to be adopted next year. In addition to the above, Katie is always available to help coworkers and often interacts with dischargers and the public. She conducts each of these interactions in a respectful and professional manner and provides timely and succinct responses to all. During the public comment period for past WDRs, Katie was praised by a member of the public for her professionalism, programmatic experience, and in-depth knowledge of Central Valley geology and wastewater facilities within the region. Katie continues to demonstrate her willingness to take on the most complex projects with a great attitude and a tremendous work ethic. While the above reflects Katie's superior accomplishments over the past couple years, she has provided outstanding service to the board over the past 18 years. She is a valued asset to the Non-15 program and the Central Valley Water Board and is very deserving of the Superior Accomplishment Award. And Katie, you're another one. When I was a starting off attorney at the Water Board and reviewing these permits, I knew your permits were probably the cleanest and needed the fewest reviews, and I'm afraid to admit, often got the law citations even better than I did. Truly, truly exemplary work in the program, and I want to express my sincere congratulations for this award. And last but not least, Thomas Young. Hey, Thomas, good to see you. The staff often do not like to take credit for all the hard work that they do. Thomas and Katie back in the corner, but really want your work to be front and center for all that you do. Thomas is a water resource control engineer in the Fresno office's stormwater program and has been with the Central Valley Water Board since March of 2023. Thomas is the only person in the office working day in and day out on compliance and enforcement duties related to the industrial and municipal stormwater permits here in the Fresno area. His area of responsibility spans 7+ counties and includes approximately 600 dischargers. Not only does Thomas competently manage a high workload and competing priorities, consistently provide excellent customer service, produce well-organized and thoughtful work products, and conduct himself professionally, he has, on his own initiative, performed several acts that are clearly and unquestionably above the normal requirements of his position. Example of Thomas's efforts include he volunteered to produce culturally relevant public outreach materials. Thomas was the catalyst for the State Water Board translating stormwater help guides into Spanish. This effort furthers the Central Valley Water Board's strategic objective to engage with underserved and underrepresented communities. He drafted an inspection prioritization methodology for program-wide consideration. This methodology would ensure that planned inspections for the fiscal year are selected based on program priorities set by the Executive Management Group and will help maintain consistency across all 3 Central Valley Water Board offices. He volunteered to prepare a presentation on verifying and remanding MS4 annual reports and gave the presentation at the Central Valley Water Board's annual Stormwater Kickoff meeting. Thomas also serves on the Fresno office's laboratory committee and regularly prepares valuable recommendations. And last but not least, he undertook a lead role in training and mentoring a scientific aide. The above examples are only a subset of Thomas's actions that go above and beyond. In less than 2 years, Thomas has established himself as a go-to person and sets a great example for the office and the region. His professionalism, judgment, work ethic, and attitude are highly valued, and his dedication to the board's mission is greatly appreciated. Consequently, Thomas is most deserving of the Superior Accomplishment Award. Congratulations, Thomas. I know you do incredible work here. And as is tradition, we're going to hand out some of the awards so we can get some pictures of you folks here in front of the board.
Okay. Are we ready to move on?
We are ready.
All right. I just want to thank all the folks that were recognized. Obviously, organizations are defined by the teams of heroes that go above and beyond, and do congratulate everybody who was recognized today. So thank you. I'd like to move on to item 7, approval of the minutes, and then item 8, uncontested calendar, and then we'll take a short recess. So if we can move on to the approval of the minutes. Are there any edits or corrections to the February 21st, 2025 minutes? If none, I would like a motion.
I move that we approve the minutes from the 21 February board meeting.
I'll second.
I second.
I have a motion and a second. Mindy, please take the roll.
Board Member Kadara,
Yes.
Board Member Bradford,
Yes.
Board Member Yang.
I wasn't here, so should I abstain?
Oh, that's right. Thank you. Board Member Baggett. Okay. Vice Chair Lee Reader
Aye.
and Chair Abdus.
Aye. All right, moving on to number 8. This time and place is for a public hearing to consider uncontested items 10 through 13. Please note that agenda item 10, the Aerojet Rocketdyne Inc. groundwater extraction and treatment system, Sacramento County NPDES permit amendment has been moved to the uncontested calendar. Adam, I think you can respond to some of the late revisions below. I will say first, if there's if you are in person in the meeting and wish to speak but have not submitted a speaker card, please fill out a blue card at the reception table. If you're on the Zoom platform, please raise your hand. So Mindy, do we have any folks that are wanting to speak on the uncontested items, please?
We do have one person here who wishes to speak on item 11,
Okay.
and that is, give me one second here. It's regarding the Jamestown mine. It is Sean, looks like Hembry from Tuolumne County.
All right.
Good morning, board members and board staff. My name is Sean Hembry, and I am the Senior Analyst for Water and Natural Resources for the County of Tuolumne. I am here today to provide some brief remarks regarding the WDR. To begin with, the county would like to thank the regional board staff for their written response to the county's written comments on the WDR. While the county has remaining concerns that it wishes to work through with the regional board, the county understands the regional board's position, and we are not here today to contest the WDR. Rather, the county would like to focus on 2 broad issues that we would like to partner with the regional board to address. First, we wish to work with the regional board, the state, the trustee, and other landowners to extend the term of the existing stipulated judgment. Sufficient funds remain to continue to perform the important work at the site, and extending the judgment will allow these funds to be put to their intended use. The county's legal counsel has already started work with the regional board and state council to move the amendment process forward, and we hope for the regional board's continued support in that process. Second, we would like to work with the regional board and other relevant parties to clarify the conditions under which portions of the site may be put to reuse. Although the stipulated judgment and the WDR already allow for this to occur, we believe that it would be beneficial to have greater clarity and specific defined process for consideration and approval as appropriate of such reuse. The county understands that the reuse must meet applicable regulatory standards and must not conflict with the remedy. We would simply like to have the required steps for achieving such reuse very expressly defined so that all parties can have certainty about how reuse can be achieved in the future. The county thanks the regional board and its staff for the work on the WDR, and we look forward to partnering with the Regional Board to address these two issues of importance to the county. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. And, our staff will be in contact, obviously, related to those issues. I don't know, Patrick, if you'd like to make any comments. If not,
I'll just make a quick comment. I mean, I think for all mine sites that have lived their productive life, the end goal is reuse, if possible. Certainly with this site, there's a lot of complexity. There's a trustee. There are a number of different agencies and municipalities involved. But again, we'll try our very best to work with the Attorney General's office to see if there's a possibility for reuse. And really, that's the commitment. See if we can put some of these lands back into productive use after the mining activities are done there. So thank you so much for coming forward.
Mindy, do we have anyone else?
That's all.
Thank you. Adam, do we have any late revisions to the consent items?
We do. We have late revisions to agenda item 10, Aerojet Rocketdyne, groundwater extraction and treatment systems from Sacramento County. It's the late revision you should have, and it just fixes some typos in the fact sheet text of the permit.
Thank you for that. Does legal counsel have any issues to discuss?
No legal issues.
Thank you, Jessica. At this point, I'll close the public hearing and ask for a motion approving consent items 10 through 13.
I move to approve the consent items 10 through 13, including late revisions.
Second.
Mindy, take the roll, please.
Board Member Kadara?
Yes.
Board Member Bradford?
Yes.
Board Member Yang?
Yes.
Board Member Baggett? Vice Chair Lee Reeder?
Aye.
And Chair Avdis?
Yes. At this point, I'd like to take let's put 10 minutes break for everyone. So I'm going to turn off my camera and be back in 10 minutes. Thank you. We look ready, at least from what I can see.
Just about ready. Elena, can we do a sound check on you too? Make sure you're back in action.
Back in action.
All right, there we are.
All right, great. Calling this meeting back into order. We're on to item number 9 at this point on our agenda. The board will consider rescission of a cease and desist order R5-2020-0038 for Set and Pistachio of Terabella and Tulare County. Perfect. So we have a staff presentation on this item.
Hi, good morning. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Well, good morning, Chair Avdis and members of the board. My name is Omar Mustafa, and I'm a senior engineer here in your Fresno office. The item up for your consideration is a rescission of a cease and desist order for the Terabella Pistachio facility owned and operated by Set and Pistachio of Terabella. Next slide. One second. Try it. Okay. During this presentation, I will provide you with a description of the facility and its location, background information on past violations at the facility that resulted in the cease and desist order, a description of the requirements in the cease and desist order, a description of how the discharger met those requirements, and finally, a summary of the current state of the facility and our recommendations. Next. The Set and Pistachio facility is located in Terabella, a census-designated place in Tulare County located adjacent to State Route 65 and approximately 6 miles south of the city of Porterville. Next. Terabella has a population of approximately 2,900 residents and has been designated by the state of California as a disadvantaged community in terms of pollution burden and socioeconomic disadvantage. The Seton Pistachio facility is highlighted in yellow on this map and is located along the western edge of Terabella. Next slide, please.
If we could pause for just 1 minute. I've been informed that somebody's raised their hand on the Zoom. Is that correct?
Yeah, someone here stated that they have someone on Zoom ready to submit comments on this item. Perhaps after.
Yeah, so we will allow if anybody's got it on their Zoom, if you could mute it. Staff presentation will be first, and following the staff presentation, Seton Pistachio will have an opportunity to comment. Then interested persons will have 3 minutes each. Seton will then be able to comment as a closing, and then staff will provide its closing, and then the advisory team will provide a recommendation. So if you're on the Zoom call, you'll certainly get a chance to comment, but it will be after the staff presentation, after Seton has an opportunity to say a few words as well.
Okay, thank you very much. Just to continue, we went over the location of the Seton facility in Terabella, Tulare County. The current slide, I'll be talking about the Pistachio facility and more detail on how it operates. The Pistachio facility generates the majority of its wastewater during the pistachio processing season, which typically occurs between August and October of each year. Pistachio processed wastewater from the facility is discharged into an on-site pond at the facility prior to being discharged into 2 unlined wastewater ponds southwest of the facility. Seton's Pistachio facility and wastewater ponds are outlined in red on this map. During the pistachio processing season, Seton's wastewater ponds also receive processed wastewater from Porterville Citrus, a citrus packing house located adjacent to Seton's facility. The Porterville Citrus facility is outlined in yellow on this map. From the ponds, wastewater is then discharged to land application areas via subsurface irrigation. Outlined in green on this map is a 350 acre-foot lined pond that Seton formerly used for wastewater treatment and storage, but stopped using for wastewater following its 2020 processing season. Next slide. The Pistachio facility is regulated by Waste Discharge Requirements Order 92-191, and one of the provisions of the waste discharge requirements specifies that objectionable odors originating at this facility shall not be perceivable beyond the limits of property owned or controlled by the discharger. Next slide. In June of 2019, board staff was informed by San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District staff of odor complaints submitted by Terabella residents due to odors originating from Seton's operations. The primary source of odors at the time was Seton's 350 acre-foot wastewater treatment and storage pond. Board staff and Air District staff continued to receive and confirm complaints from Terabella residents through 2019 and into 2020. In response to the complaints, board staff conducted multiple inspections of the facility and took progressive enforcement action against Seton for violations of the odor provisions in its waste discharge requirements. Next slide. Due to Seton's 2019 and 2020 violations of its waste discharge requirements, board staff developed a cease and desist order for the Pistachio facility. As part of the process, the board's prosecution team invited Seton to enter into settlement negotiations to negotiate a stipulated cease and desist order. A stipulated order is one in which the board's prosecution team and the discharger negotiate and agree to terms of the order prior to presenting it to the board for consideration. After several settlement meetings, the board's prosecution team and Seton were able to reach agreement on a stipulated cease and desist order, and in August of 2020, the board adopted stipulated cease and desist order R5-2020-0038 for the Pistachio facility. Next slide. The 2020 cease and desist order required that Seton immediately stop generating objectionable odors that violate its waste discharge requirements, and required that Seton immediately cease and desist all nuisance conditions arising from discharges to its 350 acre-foot wastewater treatment and storage pond. Next slide. The cease and desist order also required Seton to submit technical reports outlining its proposed improvements to be made to its treatment and storage pond to control odors, as well as an operations and maintenance plan for the pond. Next slide. Following adoption of the cease and desist order, Seton implemented corrective actions for its 350 acre-foot pond to control odors and comply with the requirements of the cease and desist order. Initial corrective actions attempted by Seton for the pond were not effective, and board staff continued to receive and confirm odor complaints from Terabella residents during the 2020 pistachio processing season. Since Seton was initially unable to comply with the cease and desist order and violated the order during 2020, the board issued Seton a penalty in 2021. Next slide. Following the 2020 pistachio processing season, Seton decided to completely discontinue use of its 350 acre-foot pond for wastewater storage, and also made significant operational changes to control odors. Seton's operational changes included installing subsurface drip irrigation lines for wastewater to be applied to its land application areas underground, and acquiring additional land application areas for distribution of its wastewater. The image on this slide shows wastewater in Seton's 350 acre-foot pond in September of 2020. This was the last processing season that Seton used this pond for wastewater storage. Next slide. Board staff continued to conduct inspections of Seton's facility following the 2020 pistachio season and verified that Seton did not use its 350 acre-foot pond for wastewater storage during the 2021 pistachio season. This image shows Seton's 350 acre-foot pond in September of 2021 and shows that the pond is free of wastewater. Next slide. Seton's decision to stop using its 350 acre-foot pond for wastewater storage and other operational changes implemented following the 2020 processing season have been effective in controlling odors. Although board staff continued to receive odor complaints during the 2021 through 2023 pistachio processing seasons, the number of complaints was greatly reduced compared to the 2019 and 2020 seasons, and board staff confirmed only one odor complaint during this time period. Next slide. Board staff received complaints during the most recent 2024 pistachio processing season, and additional complaints were received during March of 2025. In response to these recent complaints, board staff conducted multiple inspections of the pistachio facility between September 2024 and March 2025, but were unable to verify the complaints. Board staff also worked with Valley Air District staff who investigated some of these recent complaints, and board staff's understanding is that the Air District also received multiple complaints between September 2024 and April 2025, but were either unable to verify the complaints or unable to confirm that wastewater generated from Seton's pistachio facility was the source of odors. Board staff also verified during a March 2025 inspection that Seton was not processing pistachios. As mentioned earlier in the presentation, Seton typically only processes pistachios between August and October of each year. Next slide. As shown on this map, the community of Terabella is surrounded by agricultural activity and some industrial activity, and these activities have the potential to produce odors that residents may find to be objectionable. Not all of these activities are regulated by this board. Facilities in the area other than Seton include the Terabella Municipal Wastewater Treatment Facility, a sawmill facility located south of Seton's facility, and several packing house facilities. There is also significant agricultural activity around Terabella that includes applications of fertilizers, manure, and pesticides to farmland, and use of irrigation and tailwater ponds. Next slide. Prior to today's meeting, board staff notified Seton and interested parties of the proposed rescission of the cease and desist order and conducted a 30-day public comment period. During the comment period, board staff received comments from Seton and also from Terabella Voice for Change, a community group made up of Terabella residents. Seton's comments indicated that Seton was in support of the proposed rescission and highlighted that Seton has invested in significant upgrades and operational changes for its pistachio facility to resolve its past odor issues. Comments from Terabella Voice for Change indicated that Terabella residents do not support rescission of the cease and desist order and stated that residents continue to endure odors from Seton's facility and its wastewater treatment and storage pond. While board staff understand that Terabella residents still have concerns regarding Seton's facility, board staff have not found that Seton continues to produce odors from its pistachio facility or 350 acre-foot wastewater storage pond, and as indicated earlier in the presentation, board staff have not been able to confirm recent odor complaints submitted by residents during 2024 or 2025. Board staff have also conducted multiple inspections of Seton's facility over the last several years and have verified that Seton has not used its 350 acre-foot pond for wastewater storage since the 2020 pistachio season. Next slide. In summary, Seton has corrected its past odor violations and has complied with its cease and desist order by submitting required technical reports and making significant operational changes and improvements to control odors from its pistachio facility. Board staff did not confirm any odor complaints received during 2024 and 2025, and Air District staff were also either unable to verify 2024 and 2025 odor complaints or unable to confirm that wastewater generated at the pistachio facility was the source of odors. Next slide. Since Seton has complied with the requirements of its cease and desist order, and no odor complaints received during 2024 or 2025 have been confirmed by board staff, we recommend that the board rescind cease and desist order R5-2020-0038. Should Seton violate its waste discharge requirements, or should objectionable odors from the facility's wastewater recur in the future, board staff will take enforcement action as needed. Board staff will also continue to work with Terabella residents to ensure that any future odor complaints or concerns that they have are investigated either by board staff or other agencies as appropriate. Next slide. This concludes our presentation, and board staff are now available to take any comments or questions. Thank you.
So thank you for that. Do we have any comments or questions for staff at this point? I do want to go back and make some procedural announcements for the record at this point. So anybody on the board have any questions? Okay, before we move on to testimony from Set and Pistachio, I do want to, just for the record, make some announcements regarding the conduct of the public hearing. So the conduct of this item is being done in accordance with the notice of public hearing and the meeting procedures as published in the meeting agenda. We've obviously heard evidence provided by staff. We have evidence that will come in the form of the testimony from designated parties and others who will comment on this item. Designated parties will have 10 minutes for the presentation and the closing statements, and all other interested persons as well will have to limit their comments to 3 minutes, and a timer will be used. All persons expecting to testify, I would ask at this point that you raise your right hand, whether you're in person or attending virtually, and take the following oath. So not being able to see, I will just trust that those folks are raising their right hand. Do you swear to the testimony you're about to give is the truth? If so, answer, I do.
I do.
All right, thank you. If any, for folks testifying today, please state your name, address, affiliation, and whether you have in fact taken the oath before testifying. If any designated party is having technical difficulties, please notify us immediately by either raising your hand virtually on Zoom under the Participants tab, or for using a phone, pressing *9. You may also send an email to agenda and the number 5, so agenda5@waterboards.ca.gov. If there are any technical difficulties, we will stop the hearing to address those issues and will not resume until all designated parties can participate. At this point, I'd ask legal counsel, do we have any legal issues to discuss at this point?
No
we move
legal
on?
issues. No
Okay,
legal
thank
issues.
you. Thank you. So at this point, I would call on representatives from Set and Pistachio of Telabera to come forth and provide testimony.
Excuse me, this is Omar Mustafa with Fresno office. We were notified just now by someone in the audience that other members with them on Zoom cannot hear anything through Zoom.
All right, Gene, you want to work your magic here? See what's going on?
Yeah, everything is working correctly on our end. So if they're unable to hear us, not sure what we can do about that. I have one hand raised. Mr. Prado, you may turn on your mic.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I can hear everything, no problem. I don't know where the problem is. Thank you.
Thank you for that. So at this point, it is appropriate to move on to the testimony by Set and Pistachio.
We have a presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair Advis and Board. Happy to be here today and have the consideration by all of you. just introduce myself here, maybe, if the slide will move. Okay. There we go. My name is Teresa, or Tess Denham, as many as you know me. I provide special counsel services to Set and Pistachio with respect to water quality issues at the facility. Also with me today is Fernando Rios. Fernando is the Office Regulatory and Compliance Manager for Set and Pistachio at Terabella. He handles all communications with the Regional Water Board and the Air District and environmental compliance issues, and is available for questions. Should any questions arise from the board that I am unable to answer, we've got Fernando here, who is quite the expert of his facility. And we just have a couple of remarks we want to make, and then of course we did want to reserve a couple of minutes for a closing statement. First of all, I thought, thank you staff, Omar, for your coverage of the facility, but just to provide a little bit more direct information with respect to the Seton facility. It is a pistachio processing plant that Seton purchased in 1995 from Dole. The processing facility sits on approximately 80 acres. Over the last several years and through the inclusion of additional land application areas, we now currently farm approximately 961 acres where wastewater is applied through subsurface irrigation. Those crops are primarily pistachios. There is some citrus, and on all crops we also have winter wheat cover crops within the orchards. Our wastewater sources are from our pistachio hulling process, equipment washed down during the harvest season, and citrus wash water. I want to just talk a little bit about some of these major changes that Set has installed and implemented over the last several years that have been a very significant investment into the facility in order to control odors. We have installed multiple levels of screens to screen out solid materials. We have multiple levels of filters, again, to help continue to screen out solids materials. We have installed the DAF system. We piloted it for 1 year. It worked well, and so then we have expanded that and now have 2 DAF systems that work within the facility in order to, again, further remove solids. We have installed subsurface irrigation systems over all 961 acres. We have aeration systems in the east and west pond where the wastewater goes for a very limited amount of time before it goes to application to the orchards. We have continued to use, discontinued use of any of the larger ponds. In particular, Omar discussed the 350-acre wastewater pond. We have installed pH adjustment equipment so we can control pH, which helps to control odor. Again, we've added land application areas, and one of the important things we do as well is we limit the amount of residence time that wastewater has in any of the ponds to ensure that it's constantly moving. Here are just some photos just to share a little bit of what these facilities look like, and then we'll talk about the steps that we go through. Here on the top, I think does this work? Kind of. In the top left picture is our sloped screens where the pistachios come in through screens first. We then go through, and it goes through a whole removal process, which is the picture underneath it on the left. You will see some Filtomatic filters there on the bottom left. In the middle on the top, you'll see the orchards and a quite handsome young man having his picture taken with the orchards. On the far right, on the top, is a picture of our pond with our Venturi pump that aerates the pond in order to make sure that the oxygen is moving around. And on the larger picture on the bottom is another example of another set of filters that we have, fiber filters that the pistachio hulling material goes through in order to continue to remove solids. Our pistachio wastewater process is complicated and includes, as I said, multiple different levels of wastewater treatment, one could say, in order to try to remove all the solids, which is where a lot of the odor could emanate from if you don't remove it. We first start with our sloped screens. We then go through a first set of filters. Those were the big ones that you saw. We then go into a lined gunite pond for a short period of time. It goes back through another set of filters. We then go through the DAF system And then from the DAF system, we go to the east and the west pond to hold it before irrigation purposes. Again, a very short residence time, typically no less or no more than 24 hours during the harvest season. From there, it goes through another set of filters and then a set of sand filters. We have to do all that filtration between the pond and the subsurface irrigation so we don't get clogging in the irrigation lines. And then, of course, all of the wastewater is applied subsurface on the almost 1,000 acres. At the end of every harvest season, all the ponds and the media filters are cleaned. And in fact, I did not have a picture of the DAF because the DAF is also out for being maintained while we're in the off season. I think really important, I really appreciate that staff identified our pistachio wastewater is only generated during the harvest season, which starts in mid to late August and ends in early to mid-October. Then again, once that concludes, we do all of our pond cleaning and for the media filters and the ponds. We have believed that the Sutton has gone above and beyond to implement actions at its operations to mitigate odors. We have complied with all the requirements of the CDO. We have submitted all of the technical reports on time or revised on time based upon comments received. We have implemented multiple corrective actions, as we talked about, not just no longer going to the 350-acre pond, but the installation of the DAF system and the multiple filters and the pH adjustment. All are corrective actions that we have implemented to make sure that we do not create odors during our processing season. We have been subject to probably more inspections than any other facility in this area by both the Air and the Water Board. And as staff indicated, there have been no confirmed odor complaints in 2024 or 2025. Because of all of our actions and work that we have done, we don't believe that there is any basis in order to maintain the CDO and that it is appropriate for the board to rescind the CDO. And with that, we conclude just to say that we do support adoption of the rescission. We are available if you have any questions, and we'll reserve just a couple of minutes for closing if necessary.
Thanks, Ms. Dunham. At this point, any questions for Ms. Dunham from the board? And just procedurally, just to go over again so everybody's clear, next we'll hear from any interested parties. And then we'll give, obviously, Ms. Dunham an opportunity for a closing statement, and then any closing remarks from staff. The executive officer will make any comments or recommendations at that point, and then we can have deliberation and voting, just to be clear. So at this point, I'd like to call up any interested parties, any person who's not a party to the proceeding that might have comments. So Mindy, do we have folks wishing to speak on this item?
Yes, we have multiple folks. The first person I would call up is Nayamin Martinez, the Executive Director of the Central California Environmental Justice Network.
All right, please come forward. Reminder that you will have 3 minutes.
Hello, good morning. Board members, thank you for the opportunity to address you. My name is Nayamin Martinez with the Central California Environmental Justice Network. Our organization operates the IVAN Reporting Network. This is a citizen reporting network where residents can submit complaints on any environmental issue in their community. When we launched this program in Tulare County in 2019, in June of 2019, the report of the others in Terra-Bela were the first ones that we received. I drove myself to Terra-Bela and was able to witness, smell by myself, the horrible sewage-like odor that was affecting these residents for over a year. One of your esteemed colleagues, late Clay Rogers, did too in multiple times. Smell is gone, thanks to the cease and desist order that you had approved in 2020. But Terra-Bela residents have the right to live in a community free of sewage like others. I have heard some of you referring as easy and difficult tasks. The easy task for you today is to reject the rescission of the CDO. The difficult task, if you decide to do that, is to ensure that there are going to be proper enforcement mechanisms put in place so that the Seton continues to fulfill their wastewater discharge requirements. Yes, they have listed all the things that they have done, and we have been assured by staff that because of, even if the CDOs rescind today, that they will still have to comply and don't create others for that community. Well, that was the same permit that was in place before 2019 when this situation happened. What is the guarantee that the community will have that now that this CDO is rescinded, this is not going to go back to what happened before 2019? So I'm here as a person who is constantly receiving comments from the community where they smell things, but by the time the inspectors from your agency or the air district go, those smells have disappeared. It's very difficult to track those. So we need to ensure community members in Terravela, again, are free of odors, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Amelia Cypress, a community member.
Hola, buenos días a todos. Mi nombre es Amelia Ciprés. Tengo 60 años viviendo en Terravela y yo me opongo a que sigan tirando agua en el pozo que están haciendo ahorita los señores de ahí de la fábrica más grande que hay ahí en Terravela. Me opongo a que les den permiso de que sigan tirando agua porque
Hello, good morning. My name is Amelia Cipres. I live in the Terabella community for more than 60 years. I personally object to the permission that is being given in order to discharge wastewater in the ponds that are being dug. I object to it, and I would like you to not give permission for them to keep digging these ponds. ¿Siga?
sí, es por cuestión de mi salud. Es que yo vivo a menos de 1 milla de ahí donde está el reservorio ese que despide olores. So, yo quisiera que no siguieran tirando agua sucia ahí porque mi casa se impregna de ese olor y yo no puedo estar en la casa. Al principio, cuando empezó, sí, perdona.
I asked you to not give permission to discharge water into these ponds because it will affect my health. My home is less than 1 mile from these ponds, and they have this objectable odor that inundates my home, and I cannot be there.
Ahorita ya son menos, es poquito menos el olor, pero todavía existe. So, ahí en Terravela antes no había ningún otro olor. Estaba muy tranquilo todo. Las industrias que hay, empaques y todo eso, no despiden olores feos. Pero esto me causó a mí el problema hasta al principio que empezó el olor tan fuerte, tuve que ir hasta la emergencia porque me estaba como intoxicando en mi propia casa. So, yo no quiero más agua sucia cerquitas de mi casa. Gracias.
These odors are less now, but they continue to exist. Terabella was a community that had different industries and packing houses, and this does not cause odor. But ever since this wastewater is being discharged, it has caused me many issues to where now I have also gone into the emergency room because I was being intoxicated by these odors in my own home. So I ask you, please, no more wastewater in these ponds. Thank you.
Gracias. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Thank you. Reminder for folks speaking that in addition to your name, address, and affiliation, please verify that you've taken the oath for testifying. So, Mindy, please call up the next speaker.
Lupe Cypress, member of the Terabella community.
Good morning, board members. Thank you so much for hearing us and taking a moment to speak with us and hear our complaints and our cries. My name is Lupi Cipres. I am a resident of Terabella. I have been a resident of Terabella for 50 years. As you can tell, that's probably my age. But I've been a resident there. I'm here today not just representing myself and my immediate family, but also representing the Terabella community. I am a member of the Terabella Voices for Change. This community became organized through this organization. We became as a community group in regards to the issue that we had with Sutton Pistachio and the odors coming from the untreated pond that they had during the duration of 2019. I came to you forward, and I came with you to you with the petition of 527 signatures asking, within an 8-hour period that were collected, asking the board to please help us, because Sutton Pistachio was a company that did not want to hear us, called us a bunch of alcoholics, told us that our headaches and our issues of health were coming from our partying. It wasn't due to their pond. It wasn't their responsibility that there was odors lingering in our air. They would step out of the office. There's recorded meetings that we had with Sutton Pistachio where we step out of their office and they tell us, you guys are nuts, there's nothing going on. The smell is sepsis. The smell is not even an odor. It's gases that were being released from the untreated pond. The lady that came forward and spoke about the pond, she did make a strong point that they did invest a lot of money into repairing the issue that they had problems with during the time the way had came to you and asked you to please do something. So they did do all these repairs and it didn't work. The only solution that worked, and it continues to work from that specific pond, is not to use it. If you don't use it, you don't have to fix it because it's not broken. They have a small holding tank that's right next to it, small holding tanks or ponds, as you can see in the slides that they showed us. Those are where the odors are currently coming from. The odors are not just during harvest season. They're out throughout the whole year. Every single member that has signed our current petition that we turned in today, that was collected within a 6-hour period, we collected 332 signatures of community members that could not make it here in person, but they asked for a petition to be signed. The petition was requested by the community, not by the group, by the community. So I ask you, please, board members, as a person that you live in your home, please help us to say no to allowing them to go back to how they were from the beginning. There is no guarantee. They couldn't fix it during the years that we asked them to fix it. And I mean we as in the water board as well. They could not fix it until they left it alone. So I ask of you to please have in your hearts, touch your hearts, and please put yourselves in our situation. We live there. We don't work there, we live there. So please say no. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Can you confirm whether you've been, took the oath, please?
Oh, yes, I did. I'm so sorry. I did take the oath.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Leticia Castillas, looks like Laguna, Terabella Voice for Change.
Good morning. My name is Leticia. I'm with California Rural Legal Assistance. Sorry, it's kind of weird. And I represent Terabella Voice for Change. We urge the board to not rescind the order because Sutton continues to create objectionable odors, which is causing nuisance and harming the health of the residents, which is in violation of the WDR 92-191. And so in 8.1 of the CDO, it prohibits Sutton from creating objectionable odors beyond its borders. From 2021 to 2024, there have been more than 35 complaints regarding the foul odors that are coming from the facility. I mean, the complaint speaks for themselves. And not only should the board not rescind the order, but it should double down on its monitoring. And while the board implies that the odors need to be confirmed in order to be considered objectionable, the cease and desist order states that noncompliance can be established in 3 different ways. One, by credible objectionable odors, the air district information, or discharges from the monitoring from the facility, not whether the orders are confirmed or not. In addition, the WDR and the cease and desist order reference objectionable odors and not confirmed odors. Furthermore, the Water Board failed to provide documents during the public comment period with documents or reports demonstrating that Seton complied with the cease and desist order. The only information was from the response to our comments, which was an outdated water discharge report from 2023, and that an assertion that no odors have been present despite the reoccurring complaints in the past several years. So for this reason, the staff should not rescind the cease and desist order and should consider the complaints even if they're not confirmed. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you confirm that you've taken the oath, please? I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I thought I said that. I apologize. I did. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next,
Next
we have
speaker.
Ignacio Garcia.
Hi, my name is Ignacio Garcia. I live in the community of Terabella for about 45 years. Oh, excuse me, I have taken the oath. I live just down the road from Lupe and her mother, and it is not very pleasant to live out there when the smell was there. Yes, it came and went, but when it was there, it was unbearable. You could be inside your house, outside your house. The only place I could find comfort was at work, you know, and I felt bad for my children for being in the house and not being able to be in comfort. So I would say no more water in that pond, if you will. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Next, we have Fred Beltran.
I took the oath. Yes, my name is Fred Beltran. I'm a resident of Terabella, and I'm also here representing, I'm on the school board. I represent 700 children there and about 100 staff persons. Yes, Seton has gone forward and done some of the work there with the pond that they indicated. The problem is, my background is civil engineering, so I'm familiar with how water flows. I discovered there was a new pond that they're dumping their water into, which is about 1.5 miles south of the pond that we've been dealing with. And the Air Board came out. I did some reports. The Air Board came out. We verified the smell. He could not verify where it was coming from because he was not given permission to enter the property. Had he gotten permission to enter the property, he would have been able to verify where the odor was come. The Google Maps will show you that that pond that I indicated to the Water Board and to the Air Board where the odors are coming from, you can see it on Google Maps. Seton will not give you permission to go in there, but you can see that all the other ponds in the area have a reflection of water in them, blue. That particular pond has no reflection. It looks black. So depending on how you verify the odor, when the individual that comes out to do the inspection, you have to know which the wind is changing. The wind direction in our area constantly changes. And so sometimes it's coming from the south, most of the time it's coming from the west to the east. And so depending on, the wind can change and the smell can move, 100 feet, 200 feet, a half a mile away, depends on the direction of the wind. So again, he was able to, the Air Board person that did the inspection was able to confirm the smell, but he was not able to confirm the location that it was coming from. But Google Maps will show you that there's no other area in that mile or so radius that would indicate that it was coming from anywhere other than that particular pond. Again, it could have been verified by allowing them to visit that particular pond, but they were not given the permission to enter there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The following individuals should all be on Zoom. The next speaker is Maria Ledesma.
Yes, ma'am, you may unmute yourself.
Ms. Ledesma, you can unmute yourself.
Buenos días. ¿Me
Hello?
escuchan? ¿Me pueden escuchar?
Can we have the translator, please?
La podemos escuchar.
Ok, buenos días. Mi nombre es María Ledesma, soy residente de Terravela y aquí estoy con 7 más personas que estamos en la junta y solamente casi les suplicamos que por favor no quiten lo que se está haciendo para que no vuelvan los olores tan malos. Mi casa, esa compañía está atrás de mi casa, de mi yarda. Mis hijas no podían salir a jugar ni un ratito.
Pause, por favor, si podría pausar para poder interpretar. Hello, good morning. My name is Maria Ledesma. I am attending the meeting today with 7 other people. We're here at my house, and we've been listening to the meeting. My comment is, we all beg you, this whole group of us, to please do not rescind this order that is in place now. This company is behind my house and it produces a very strong odor. My children are not able to play outside. Continúe.
Y ahora que ya hicieron todo esto, ya estamos pudiendo vivir normalmente. Antes estábamos cautivos en nuestra casa.
So we beg you to please keep the order, because after the order was put in place, we were able to live a somewhat normal life. Before this, we were all, as you can say, captive in our own home because of the strong odor that was outside.
Solamente es eso. Voy a pasarle la palabra a alguien más de mi grupo que estamos aquí.
That is all for me. I'm going to hand it over to one other person that is here in my house attending the meeting.
Buenos días, mi nombre es María del Carmen Torres
Good morning. My name is Maria del Carmen Torres.
y se agradece la oportunidad de estar en esta junta.
I am very grateful to be part of this meeting.
La verdad, la forma en que nos tenían viviendo con esos olores nos quitan la calidad de vida. No es un olor insoportable, incómodo, es algo insoportable.
I'm very grateful to be a part of this meeting, and I just want to say that the way we were living before, the quality of life was very low. The odor, it's unbearable. It's not just a bad odor, it is something very unbearable.
Sí, por favor, si podrían ayudarnos, no nos quiten la calidad de vida. Tenemos derechos como personas, como residentes de Terravela. Y gracias.
I beg you, please don't take away our quality of life. Please help us. We really ask for your help, all residents here in Terabella.
Hola, mi nombre es Ana María Pantoja. Soy residente de Terravela.
Hello, my name is Ana Maria Pantorra. I am resident in Terabella.
Yo vengo a pedirles de favor que no lo quiten porque mi hija padecía mucho asma, infecciones, nunca se me curaba. Y ahora que hacen eso de filtrar el agua, de lo que están haciendo, ha podido vivir mejor, ya no se ha enfermado. Les suplico por toda mi familia, por mis hijas, por todos los que vivimos aquí, que nos ayuden, por favor.
I beg you, and we all beg you, that please do not take away this order that is in place. Before this order was put into place, my daughter had severe asthma and she was always suffering from different infections and ailments. But after the regulation was put into place, she has lived a better quality life. Therefore, she does not get sick. And I beg you, please help us. Please help us keep living this way of life.
Buenos días, mi nombre es Ruth Villanueva, soy residente de Terravela. Yo también pido por favor que no vuelva a lo mismo porque antes hasta tenemos muchas personas de aquí de Terravela, tenemos coolers y todos los aromas, toda la peste se pasa por el cooler y todo, no podemos estar ni a gusto ni adentro ni afuera. Se los pido por favor, gracias.
My name is Rubia. I also live in Terabella. I beg you, please don't make us go back to the way things were before. All of us here in Terabella, we have coolers in our homes, and this does not filter out the smell. It goes straight through, and the odors, when this is not in place, are not only outside but also inside our homes. Please and thank you. ¿Fue el último comentario?
Sí, fue el último comentario. Muchas gracias y pues por favor, les suplicamos por toda la comunidad de Terravela que nos ayuden.
That was the last comment. Thank you. And as we said, on behalf of the entire Terabella community, please do not rescind this cease and desist order.
Next, we have Janet Del Toro on Zoom.
Sorry, Mindy, I don't see them logged in. We have a hand raised. Someone named Maria.
I believe Maria has spoken already, but I'm not 100% sure.
Maria, did you have a question? You may unmute yourself. Apparently not. And Marie Ledesma has her hand raised again. She commented.
Go ahead and unmute her, please. Jean.
You may unmute.
Can we have the interpreter back up to the podium, please?
Interpreters?
No, I think we're done.
Oh. Okay.
We're the last one that commented. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we want to try Maria again? She's still unmuted. Still unmuted.
Yeah, Maria, you can unmute. She has dropped off.
Okay.
Do we have a Rosa Aguilar or a Christina Ayala on Zoom?
We do not.
How about a Adriana Magdaleno?
We do not.
Salvador Ledesma?
Salvador Vargas?
It was submitted as Ledesma.
And Maria is back with her hand raised. You may unmute, Maria.
Y buenos días, ¿sí me escuchan?
¿Le escuchamos?
We hear you.
¿La escuchamos?
Sí, gracias. Mi nombre es María de Los Ángeles. Soy residente de Terravela. Y le suplico encarecidamente que por favor no regresen esos malos olores. En el 2021 mi hija se enfermó de asma. Sí.
My name is Maria de Los Angeles. I am resident of Terabella. I beg of you to please do what you can so the odors do not come back. In 2021, my daughter became sick of asthma.
Sí, ella estuvo internada. Ella era una niña muy sana y por tanta contaminación ahora sufre de asma. Ella estuvo internada hace 2 semanas, 3 semanas, perdón. Y yo les pido encarecidamente, perdón, es que estoy enferma, que no regresen esas aromas, que hagan todo lo posible. No queremos esa pestilencia. Como decía Carmen Torres, queremos una mejor calidad de vida.
I ask that you please do what you can so these odors do not come back. My daughter was in the hospital. She used to be a very healthy girl, but now because of all of the contamination, she has asthma. 3 weeks ago, she was admitted into the hospital because of her asthma, and so I beg you to please. So that these odors do not come back. As Carmen Torres mentioned before, please do not take our quality of life away.
Y gracias en nombre de todos esos padres que sufren al ver a sus hijos enfermos de sus pulmones, que no pueden tener una vida normal porque no pueden correr, se enferman de sus pulmones. Yo les pido encarecidamente que no regresen esos olores, por favor. Gracias.
In the name of all, on behalf of all other parents who see their children suffer because of lung issues, because of their children's lung issues, I beg you to please don't take our quality of life away, that these odors don't come back, and I beg that you do what you can. Thank you.
All right, next commenter.
We have a hand raised by Mary. Mary, you may unmute.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi. I have taken the oath. My name is Mary, and I have been a resident of Tarabella for over 50 years. And I am asking the board to please not rescind the cease and desist order. We do appreciate allowing our community to have a voice. We have no guarantee of this odor staying away. And it took our community a long time to get this shut down to prevent these orders from coming back. I, on several occasions, contacted Seton myself on a personal level, as I had a group of military individuals gathering at my home. And I called Fernando personally and asked, can you please cease from these odors coming this weekend? Because I have this group of military individuals coming to get together at my home in Tarabella. And of course, that didn't happen. We had to go inside my home because the odor was so bad. Unfortunately, it took individuals from higher up offices to represent our community because nobody listened to us. And these individuals like Noemi, Fred, Lupe, we were fortunate enough to have them speak on our behalf in order to have our voices heard. So I ask that we please not allow this cease and desist order to take place or be it rescinded. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mindy, do we have any other folks wishing to speak?
I don't have any others.
Okay, I would like to extend my thanks to the folks from the community that testified today. Thank you.
There's one raised hand.
Excuse me, Nick. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anita, you may unmute.
Sí, hola, buenos días.
Hello, good morning.
Sí, mira, mi nombre es Anita Figueroa y también hablo para pedirles por favor que si no pueden, que no regrese ese aroma porque realmente sí es insoportable. Yo vivo en las afueras de Terravela, pero aún así es demasiado fuerte el aroma. Incluso, sí, claro.
Hello, my name is Anita Figueroa. I ask of all of you to please don't let that odor come back. I live in the outskirts of Terabella, but even then, it is a very strong odor.
Sí, claro. Sí, como le decía, yo vivo en las afueras de Terravela y aún así hasta acá llega el aroma bastante fuerte. Y como dice la señora, a veces prende uno los coolers y se pasa toda el aroma para adentro. Y pues realmente es insoportable, es un aroma que huele como a drenaje. Realmente. Ujú.
It is, even though I live in the outskirts of Terabella, the odor is very strong. And like the other community member mentioned, we have coolers, but the odor goes through them and it comes inside the home. And it is just a very strong odor. It smells like
Sí,
sewer.
entonces, ajá.
It smells like sewer.
Sí, entonces, como decía, es un aroma que huele como a drenaje, entonces es realmente incómodo e insoportable y yo creo que sí está afectando como a la salud de las personas. Entonces, por favor, les pido, a nombre de todos los que no estamos aquí presentes de Terravela, que si por favor no vayan a aceptar otra vez ese aroma. Muchas gracias por escucharnos.
As I mentioned, it smells like
Hasta luego.
it's a
Bye.
very strong odor, a sewer like smell. It is very uncomfortable, it is unbearable, and I know it affects people's health. And so I ask on behalf of all residents of Terabella to please don't let this odor come back.
Right. Are there any other folks online that may wish to speak? Now is your time to raise your hand.
Seeing no hands raised.
All right. At this point, I would like to offer opportunity for a closing statement.
Excuse me, we have one hand raised.
Okay. Ms. Dunham.
Raquel Sanchez, you may unmute.
Okay.
Sí, buenos días. Como ya les había comentado, pues yo soy trabajadora del campo.
Hello, good morning. As I had mentioned before, I am a field worker.
Hemos trabajado por Terravela, por todo el Valle Central, y si esos aromas perjudican los pulmones y la salud de todos los trabajadores.
We have worked in Terabella and all along the Central Valley, and those strong odors affect lung health.
Muy importante que se siga ese proceso para que nuestros hijos que se engendran y que vienen a este mundo no sean contaminados desde el vientre. Por favor, sigan ese proceso y si se puede avanzar en un proceso que sea más purificador del aire, sería mucho mejor.
It is very important that we keep this order in place for our children that are growing up and for those to come so they can live in a place where it is not contaminated.
Sí, porque hay muchas personas de la tercera edad que no pueden salir y el día que salen al doctor o a otro lado se enferman peor de lo que están. Por favor, procedan con un procedimiento que sea más eficaz para poder ayudar a toda la humanidad y las comunidades cercanas. Gracias. Esperamos pronta resolución.
Also, the elderly, when they go out to a doctor's appointment, they end up coming back even sicker than what they left, and it's all because of the odors. So we ask for you to continue on a process that is efficient and do what is possible to keep communities healthy and therefore the rest of humanity. Thank you.
Jasmine, before you leave the podium, can you make an announcement in Spanish, please, to, the folks that if they're on to raise their hands if they want to speak?
A cualquier otro asistente que está en Zoom, si quiere hacer un comentario y aún no lo ha hecho, por favor levante su mano virtual.
Yasmin, thank you very, very much. You're doing an excellent job. Very much appreciated.
Thank you.
All right. Go
I'm
ahead.
not seeing any hands
Okay.
raised.
All right, Ms. Dunham, would you like to make a closing statement at this time?
I would. Thank you very much. Appreciate the opportunity. Just to make a couple of closing statements here. First, I would like to just make a clarification with respect to a comment received by Mr. Beltran. He mentioned something about a new pond. I can assure you, Set Pistachio has not created any new wastewater ponds now or in the future without, of course, going through the Regional Water Board's process. All of our wastewater is limited to the east and the west pond, as we talked about previously. Set Pistachio is a full-time farming operation with over 1,000 acres. We do have stormwater ponds and irrigation ponds throughout the pistachio orchards that are used for typical irrigation stormwater retention purposes, but they are not wastewater ponds. So just want to clarify that. Also, just to note, he indicated that Set Pistachio refused to have the Air Board enter its private property in the location of where the complaint occurred, which was within the orchards. I can assure you Set Pistachio has always cooperated with the agencies and has allowed the agencies on site for inspections throughout these years. This one instance, there was no staff available to escort the Air District employee to the point where the allegation came with respect to a smell associated with a stormwater retention pond, not a wastewater pond. I also want to make sure and assure you all that Set Pistachio is absolutely committed to continuing operating in the manner that it has for the last several years. All improvements that have been made will continue to be made and implemented as we are required to do so. We have put all of this and documented this as part of our 2023 Report of Waste Discharge, which has been found to be complete by this board staff, and we are required to operate under the terms of that 2023 Report of Waste Discharge, which includes ensuring that no wastewater enters the 350-acre pond and that we only utilize the east and west pond for wastewater during the irrigation season for a very short period of time for a 24-hour residence period. So I appreciate the community's concern. Seton is a valuable member of the community, highly supports the community in every which way, and is absolutely committed to continuing to operate in the manner that it has to control odors. And we thank you for consideration and ask that you rescind the CDO, which of course is to be temporary in nature. CDOs are not intended to be a long-term component. We are committed to completing and implementing our program as we have and as required by our Report of Waste Discharge. And of course, we are always subject to future enforcement should we do something and a misstep along the way. Thank you so much for your consideration.
Thanks, Ms. Dunham. At this point, I'd like to hear from staff on any closing remarks. So, Omar, please come to the podium.
Thank you very much. First, just want to say thanks to the residents for coming in person and to those who showed up on Zoom as well. We understand that you have concerns and you're worried about Seton potentially going back to old ways if the cease and desist order is rescinded today. Just wanted to clarify a few things. First of all, we understand your concerns and we're still here. Should you have additional complaints in the future, we're still here to investigate those, and Seton is still subject to complying with their waste discharge requirements, even if the cease and desist order is rescinded. And part of the requirements in the waste discharge requirements is, one, that they don't produce objectionable odors that are detectable outside of their property boundaries, and also that they don't create conditions of nuisance. They're still subject to those requirements, and should they violate those requirements, if odors come back, we can take additional enforcement action as needed. We've done multiple inspections since Seton stopped using that 350 acre-foot pond, which was the main problem back in 2019 and 2020. We've done inspections during every processing season, sometimes multiple times a processing season, to verify that they have not gone back to using that pond. And we will continue to do so during future processing seasons. We can go out and inspect and also respond to any concerns or complaints that that residents have. As we went through in our presentation, board staff believes that Seton has complied with the requirements of the cease and desist order. We've seen the operational changes that they've made, and we think that they've been effective. Ms. Dunham just mentioned that Seton has submitted a report of waste discharge. I can verify that we did receive that report of waste discharge, and it does outline their proposed operations, and the way they propose to operate does not include use of that 350 acre-foot pond for wastewater storage. And we do recommend rescission of the cease and desist order. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Patrick, at this point, do you have any recommendation for the board?
So the process would be, we would close the hearing for deliberation, and then I'm a member of the advisory team, as is Adam Lapitz and Kennedy Knight. I would have proposed just a couple questions for Omar before we close that portion of the hearing, and certainly if any members of the board have any questions of Terabella or Seton Terabella or the prosecution team, now would be the time to raise them before we close and deliberate on the evidence.
Yeah, thank you all for coming and expressing your concerns. It sounds like there's been a lot of work done, and there's still concerns about moving forward. Of course, the WDR is still in effect, even if the cease and desist order is rescinded. I guess I'm curious, with the 350 acre pond, are there any plans to formally close that pond? Or is that any kind of a requirement that the board might impose?
So the pond is no longer being used for wastewater storage, but it is being used for stormwater. So Seton did reconfigure its piping so that that pond now collects stormwater from Seton's facility itself, as well as a large portion of the town of Terabella. So the pond is still in use in some way, but not for wastewater.
Okay, thank you.
Just for clarification, are we allowed to make comments?
We are not making comments right now. We are asking if there's any evidentiary questions.
Okay, so clarification then. Okay. So from what I heard, that pond that used to use for wastewater is no longer being used for wastewater, just rainwater, to store rainwater, correct?
That's correct, yes.
And how long has it been?
They stopped using that pond following the 2020 pistachio season. So 2020 pistachio season would have ended approximately October of 2020. And I think they had to do some cleanup work following that, but there have not been any new discharges of wastewater to that pond since end of 2020.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from board members? So Patrick, I have a question, but it's a procedural one. Would it be more appropriate during board deliberations or during this part of the hearing?
If it's of the prosecution team, now's the time. If it's procedural, we can probably deal with it during deliberations.
Yeah, I just want to make sure the public understands that, the nature of the interplay between the WDR and then the CDO, and then the fact that the CDO is being considered for precision, what that means because, obviously a lot of esoteric kind of things here that most people don't understand. And frankly, I don't blame them. The fact of the matter is that they have concerns about the issues that were being caused by Seton. And, obviously the notion of something being rescinded in a general sense might be concerning. I understand that. So that's what I would want to talk about, just really basically distilling that down a bit so people understand exactly what's happening here.
No, certainly. And I think we could accomplish that during deliberations. Before we head into deliberations, I would ask just a couple questions of the prosecution team. One, there was some allegation raised that the prosecution team was withholding documents. I just wanted you to comment on that briefly. And if you could also comment on when the prosecution team and board inspectors do their inspections of the facility, do you in fact take wind direction when you're checking into the odor complaint? So those are two questions I think the board might want to have answered before we move into deliberations.
Yes, so to answer the first question, I'm not sure which documents CRLA staff think they have not received, but we have received multiple Public Records Act requests from CRLA over the past few years. We've provided all documents responsive to those requests. We've also copied CRLA and other interested parties on all correspondence out of our office regarding Seton's facility. We've been doing that since at least 2020, when these issues first came to light. If there are any documents that anyone's interested in that they don't have a copy of, our files are public. We're happy to share any documents that interested parties would like to receive. I believe there was a question in CRLA's comments about whether Seton had actually completed implementing some of these corrective actions. And we responded and mentioned that how they're operating now is all documented in their most recent report of waste discharge. That's also public and available should they want to receive a copy. In response to the second question, because this site has been under an enforcement order, we have been proactive in conducting inspections during every processing season. The season typically occurs August to October of each year. We've inspected Seton a total of 38 times since summer of 2019, which is by far more than any other facility under our non-15 program. So we've done quite a few inspections. When we receive complaints, we typically try to respond as soon as possible, typically the same day if we're able. Terabella is about an hour and a half drive from Fresno, so it does take us at least that amount of time to get out there. But we do prioritize responding to complaints, and when we do receive public complaints, we inspect as quickly as we can.
And just when you're responding to complaints, do you take into account direction?
Yes, sorry, forgot that part of the question. But yes, we do always document wind direction during the inspections.
It's appreciated.
Okay, thank you. So at this point, I would like to close the public hearing portion of this item and move on to board deliberation. So I'd like to reopen it up here. At this point, Patrick, do you want to frame any of this discussion at this stage?
Certainly. To the extent that there's framing, I think, Nick, you are alluding to this as you kind of made your comments. If there's something I think that the board could have done better, and this is always a tough one for us to play Monday morning quarterback as it was, taking a look in hindsight about what we could have done better. Perhaps it would be to transmit the difference between the cease and desist order and the underlying waste discharge requirements, and what would happen upon the rescission of the cease and desist order. As a tool, the cease and desist order really has served its purpose and does not have a lot of value to our organization. What we really need to do now is work on adopting a new waste discharge requirements. I'm sure this debate will be rekindled at that time when we have a public hearing to adopt new waste discharge requirements. But as was said a number of times during the hearing, there is a requirement that will remain in place in the current waste discharge requirements not to create nuisance conditions at this facility. The CDO is a tool that can get us specific actions to correct those nuisance conditions. Those actions were taken by Seton, and so the cease and desist order just does not have the same value as it would have before. And frankly, you know, if we were to tier off enforcement of the cease and desist order, we'd essentially need to have new investigations, new additional evidence that we'd put into the record. And again, it would almost be as easy to enforce the underlying waste discharge requirements as the cease and desist order. Cease and desist order gets you a tremendous amount when, say, they didn't close the pond. We could go to court and say, we've got a cease and desist order, make them close the pond. If they didn't switch to subsurface drip, we could go to court, say, switch to subsurface drip. But those requirements have been fulfilled. And again, so that's, and it's tough to comment, you know, it's tough to transmit those nuances to say, this is what we're doing. Even the names CDO, WDR, non-15, they're difficult to explain. And I think we really have to go the extra mile to try and do that in instances like this where there's a lot of public attention. Even in instances where there isn't public attention, try and make these as accessible as possible, both in English and in other languages. That's the only framing I'd suggest as we kind of go ahead with discussions on this item.
Thank you for that, Patrick. Any board members have any comments, thoughts?
Yeah, I'm really torn with this one. I know, I heard what you said by the cease and desist order, and everything has been done there. But hearing the residents, and I always put this personal hat on, being a resident from a disadvantaged community, when things don't happen, you don't have a voice, you're neglected, and hearing people say they will have to go, they don't want their quality of life that they've enjoyed these past few years to go back to the way it was. I don't have an answer for that, but I don't know if there's anything in the WDR, wherever we can do something, but just dropping that and things for the residents to be in the position that they're in, that's not a good answer for me either. And so I'm really torn on how to respond to this. And yeah, those are my comments at this point. I know they talked about some of the other facilities that are there, and I know the Air Quality Control Board, you know, they're saying there are no problems, but these residents are not being stupid sitting here saying that their air quality is bad and their health problems are affected by it. So, yeah, those are my comments at this point.
Thank you.
Thanks, Denise. Others?
Yeah. Patrick, did you want to make a comment first?
Yeah, and I will say, just to be clear, regardless of whether the board rescinds the cease and desist order, direction I'll be providing to both the enforcement team, and Alex knows it's coming too, as a permitting manager in this office, is to move ahead with the adoption of new waste discharge requirements that will have more specific requirements for Seton, and we'll certainly have another debate about what the conditions are, because the old waste discharge requirements do need to be replaced. Sure, they say nuisance conditions, we prohibit nuisance conditions, but we need to have a new set of waste discharge requirements that more accurately reflects the operations and the pollution control requirements that are put into place. How often will they be sampling? What will they be required to sampling? What's the access agreement that will be included as part of it? So even though the cease and desist order, I think in my opinion, has served its useful life, we will be continuing this discussion as we adopt a new permit for Seton in the upcoming months.
Okay, but what time frame are we looking at pertaining to those new discharge requirements? 6 months, a year and a half, or in the meantime, we have residents that have several.
Yeah. I don't know off the top of my head. I will. It will be a priority after this meeting is concluded. Again, regardless of whether the cease and desist order is adopted or the rescission moves ahead or not.
Yeah, good afternoon. There's a lot of information shared from all parties. I could start by saying, I myself, it's from the disadvantaged community, and it takes a lot for folks from the disadvantaged community to come out and provide testimonies about their concerns, because that's not what they do on a daily basis, and it has to be something serious for them to come out and provide testimonies. It's just the nature of being a disadvantaged community. That's sort of ways that goes about that, and I know a bit about that because I'm from there. So I just want to give kudos to all of the constituents for coming out in person and virtually as well to come out and provide your concerns to us. And it is another serious issue. Hearing all the testimonies, and I also want to say thank you to the staff for all the inspections that has done. I heard 38 times, right? Within what, multiple years? Yeah. So yeah. Now, to the extent of the details, I think that we, and including myself, could probably dig in it a little bit deeper to have more comprehensive understanding of it, and to the one of the detail of wind directions and so forth. And I heard that that was accounted. Now, to the specific of what direction, that was not shared. And if you could share that, that would be good as well, right? Because I don't know if that is a pond that the residents live surrounded 360, or it's just a certain area of the pond. So that could also be shared to provide a more comprehensive understanding to the board and whoever that is concerned about this situation. With that said, yeah, I feel very concerned and feel very bad for the constituents who have to deal with those odor on a regular basis, as they alluded to, and they are the one that suffer. Obviously, that's why they're here, voicing their concern. So I know that based on what we have heard as far as inspections and certain Prestigios facility have shared their improvement of this process that had come to this point where recession of the disease and the disease may take place today. There is still concern. Otherwise, I don't think these constituents wouldn't be here, and that's the obvious. So with that said, I'm just going to say I feel very uncomfortable at this point as far as voting on this item. But I do appreciate all the information presented today. Thank you.
Yeah, not to reiterate everything, but I think this is a kind of an obvious case of the squeaky wheel does get the grease, and I appreciate your guys' efforts. not only today, but going back to 2019 when this was really bad. Also observed a lot of you acknowledge that it's improved a great deal since 2019 and since the work that Seton has done. The engineering controls that they've put in place are not cheap, and I don't think they have any incentive to bypass or remove those controls. So looking forward, I hope that it remains better and even improves from there. I agree completely with the idea that the WDR needs to be revised, reviewed as a priority. The next harvest and season is coming up, and I doubt it'll be done by then. But I'd be interested in having the board keep a good eye on Seton during that period from August to October, make sure that there aren't any excursions on the odor front. And I'd encourage Seton to really maintain community contact and to build the trust between these folks and your operations, because I think that's clearly been lacking in the past. And the more you can convince them that you're working on their behalf, I think the better the relationship will be. So with that, thank you again, and we can move on.
Thanks, Mark. Anyone else?
I would just say the only way to convince the residents that you're working on their behalf is they don't smell the odor. That's why they're all here. So whatever the WDR goes forth, the strengthening in that order to make sure that, you know, things continue on in a direction that's going to remove that odor and let these community members have a quality of life that everybody else gets to enjoy every day, instead of having to bring their families inside the house, and then inside the house the odor is there. I mean, it's just unconscionable. That's my bother. Because it's not gone away, and so it was caused by something. It's not anything these residents did, and Seton has spent a lot of money, and that's good, but the odor is still there. No, you're not living there. They're living there, and I don't think these people would take their time to come and sit here today and balk about this problem if the odors were better, if the odors are gone. So that's it.
Thanks, Denise.
Well, then there's some confusion with me then. My understanding is the odor issue is resolved at this point, but the concern is that it'll come back. And that if we take away the cease and desist, they won't have an incentive. But they've spent a lot of money, I think as was said earlier. And I can't imagine a discharger that wants to come back to have another cease and desist order put on them. I think is to take this CDO and put it into the next permit, which sounds like where the staff is headed. And then it's permanent. Right now, it's just temporary, and if they've resolved it, then I'm comfortable with staff's recommendation.
Point of clarification. I thought I heard and saw in the presentation that there hasn't been a report from the resident about the odor issue this year.
So real quick, it is closed to the it is closed to both the prosecution team and all the interested parties in the discharger at this point. It could be reopened on motion of the board if you want to reopen the comment. I think thus far there were odor complaints. They were not substantiated by board enforcement staff as coming from the Seton plant. And then there was some conflicting testimony as to whether the odors are repeating, with a number of people commenting that the odors are gone, but they are. They came and went. They quote came and went. That they do not want to go back. There's a number of people saying they do not want to go back, and that they now can quote live a normal life. But there was also some allegations that there's another comment that the smell is gone. but they have a right to live free of a sewage-like odor. And so there was some conflicting evidence about whether the odors were completely gone in the community.
Yeah, so I think that, to me, that's a key component in factoring what we are about to vote on, right? So a lot of money and work has been done, and that's very great. And so, just for clarification, people are so now are we not clear that the odor has gone, or is still there, or it's gone now, but folks are worried that it will come back? I mean, which is it? I think that part we have to really be specific and distinct the two, so that we understand, at least for me, and the rest of the board understand precisely.
Yeah, I think we had conflicting evidence, and we may continue to hear conflicting evidence. Again, there was probably more folks worried about it coming back than there were folks complaining that the odors are attributable to Seton right now. So again, very often when you're sitting here deciding in a matter like this, there's conflicting evidence in front of you, and it's up to you to deliberate and decide on the value of that evidence.
Yeah, so I mean, with what you just shared, I mean, if we not certain, it just it almost feels like it's irresponsible for us to take actions and carry on this if it's not certain that the odor it's gone. So yeah, it's very concerning.
I think staff pointed out, though, that these odors complaints that have come in even during periods when Seton's not operating could be coming from other source areas. They're surrounded by agriculture, there's fertilizers, there's manure, there's packing plants, et cetera. So, I'm not saying that there aren't odors anymore, but if they can't be attributed to operations at Seton, I don't think the cease and desist order is really serving any purpose. So that's just my view, but again, like Art mentioned, incorporating these requirements into a new WDR would memorialize them, and I think that's the next step administratively.
Yeah, I would say, I would echo the remarks, Mark, you and Art and others. Obviously, there's been a breach of the public trust here, obviously with an operation like this in a community like this. I think it is incumbent on Seton to mend those fences, so to speak, because there's obviously a broken relationship with the community there. And Sean, to your point, I don't know if there's ever been a decision where we're 100% sure of one thing or another, and that's why we're here to make decisions. And certainly, I place a high value in the staff analysis and recommendation here. And I do believe that things are getting better, and I do want to see this go on to the next stage of getting a new WDR. And procedurally, I just don't think that maintaining the cease and desist order really answers any of the questions that maybe are at the root of the concern for your comments and Denise's. I think this is really a procedural matter at this point. There's been a threshold that's been justified to justify the rescission of the cease and desist order, and obviously move on to a submittal of a new WDR, which will be before this body. So I think with that, I'm comfortable with the rescission, and I think it's obviously board's discretion here, but I would entertain a motion at this point.
Okay, I'll move that we approve the rescission of the cease and desist order.
I'd second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Mindy, please call the roll.
Board Member Kadara,
I'm going to abstain.
Board Member Bradford,
Yes.
Board Member Yang,
Abstain.
Board Member Baggett, Vice Chair Lee Reeder,
Aye.
and Chair Abdus.
Yes. Patrick, can I ask, do the fact that 2 board members abstained from, does it affect the outcome of the vote?
It would not affect the outcome of the vote.
Okay, thank
The
you.
motion still passes.
So the motion carries. Thank you, everyone. At this point, do we need to, do we have closed session today? I apologize.
Yes, we do have closed session.
Okay, so at this point, we're gonna adjourn to closed session. So thank you again, everybody.
And I just need to announce that we are going to be discussing item A, the 2013 ACLO to Malaga, on the closed session list. We will not be taking any other action after closed session.
All right,
And-
thank you.
And
also,
should folks want to know, the next meeting of this board is actually the Water Quality Coordinating Committee in Sacramento on May 1st and 2nd.
Either with you or with Pat.
all right,
June.
so we'll convene closed session in 10 minutes. So thanks.
Because they did come back,
Patrick, to confirm, we're gonna close this meeting.
change the location of
We will have to come back to officially close it, so we'd want to keep this open until we can close it.
contention with, and that's.
And the
why we
June meeting is 19th and 20th of June.
is
Okay, this meeting is hereby adjourned.